I actually, like, literally ended up in Podunk. He looks like he knows how to party. I am, like, really struggling to read out loud today. Hi, I'm Sock Marionette, doing business as Bargain Counter Argument, and I am a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books. Which I actually haven't done in a while. The first 2 weeks of February, I was doing one video a day and reading a book a day for those videos, in some cases actually a little bit more than a book a day. So I have done, I think, 1 or 2 videos, I think just the one video since then. Anyway, I've been doing my midweek motivations on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. But I think it feels like it's been over a week since I last sat down to do a pre-recorded video. And so I want it to just be pretty chill and relaxed. Yesterday I was running around like an absolute fool because it was clear. It was cold, but it was clear. Today it's wintry mix, and Thursday and Friday is supposed to be wintry mix. Tomorrow is supposed to be both warm and clear, or at least not precipitating. But that's the day, of course, that I do midweek motivation, so I don't like to do too much running around on those days. I like to, be relaxed for midweek motivation and relaxed and productive at the same time. That's the vibe I'm going for. And if I do a lot of running around in the morning, that doesn't really work as well for me. So I did all this running around yesterday, and it was very tiring. I had a good time for the most part, but it was very tiring. I went to several Marshalls, TJ Maxx, home goods stores, because now that they have books beyond just the coffee table books, I've been kind of keeping an eye out for what they have, and it's kind of fun to go exploring, to go try different stores and see what kinds of things they have. I don't know if they have trucks going out. I don't know if they have trucks going by outside or not, but I certainly do. Anyway, so I did pick up a couple of books. I'll talk about those in another video. However, one of the things I wanted to do was to go to the library up in Enfield, Connecticut, because, there we go, because they had a copy of the Tea and Biscuits book club pick for March, which is Hardly a Gentleman by Eloisa James. Hardly a Gentleman, nary a shirt. And I wanted so much to be able to check a copy out from either Mansfield or, better yet, Manchester, because it is Manchester March, and that's a Manchester. But I ended up getting it at Enfield, which it's a very nice library with a really nice collection. I went in to get this, and I emerged with this plus 13 other books. The thing is, I did not have my reading glasses with me. So I was kind of grabbing books, and I was thinking, oh, well, I'll just look at them when I get home and decide whether or not I want to read them, if they're not for me or not for now, and then I can return them. Kind of like, I know some people, I don't do this myself, but I know a lot of people who do. They buy the clothes at the store, they go home and try them on, and then they return the ones that don't fit or that they decide don't flatter them or whatever. But this is kind of like that, only no money is changing hands. A little bit of an edit so that I could get a little more comfortable. I think this video is going to have a lot of edits, because what I decided to do is to just do a chill video on this wintry mix kind of day, where I talk about the books that I checked out and whether or not I think I'm actually going to read them. And as you saw, I do have my reading glasses handy. So let's see. And also, I was kind of tired and in a fugue state. So, I wasn't in a fugue state exactly, but I was very tired by the time I got home, so I don't remember every single little thing that I picked up. So we'll see. Some of this I know about, some of this will be a discovery for both you and me. And so I got this book by J.R. Ward, Crown of War and Shadow. I've read one book by J.R. Ward so far, and it was like a spin-off of the Black Dagger Brotherhood. I really, really liked it a lot. And I was able to follow along pretty well, even though I wasn't, I hadn't read any of the books from that series. And I think this is a new book. I mean, like a new series, maybe. It's fantasy. In the dead of night, passions rise, empires fall, and a queen must awaken. Welcome to the kingdoms of the compass. Okay, welcome to suggest that this is a new series. The fulcrum is falling, and demons are slipping into the mortal world. No one is safe, especially not Sorrel, an orphan and an outcast within the walls of her small village because of her mystical abilities. But there was a comma. Never mind. Cold reading. She wants to survive and find somewhere she can call her true home, but fate has other plans. And let's see. End page illustration. And there's a map. Woohoo! Fantasy map. So, yeah. I don't think this is Black Dagger Brotherhood. This sounds like a totally new beast, and that's fine with me. So, yeah. Definitely going to try that. Let's see what else the Bag of Wonder has. Heart and Soul by Jen Frederick. That's Seoul spelled like the city in South Korea. And, oh yeah, I did actually manage to kind of hold this at some distance and squint a little bit so I could see what it was about. As a Korean adoptee, Hara Wilson doesn't need anyone telling her she looks different from her white parents. She knows. Every time Hara looks in the mirror, she's reminded that she doesn't look like anyone else in her family. Not her loving mother Ellen, not her jerk of a father Pat, and certainly not Pat's new wife and new real son. Ooh, boy, yeah. Pat does sound like kind of a jerk. At the age of 25, she thought she had come to terms with it all, but when her father suddenly dies, an offhand comment at his funeral triggers an identity crisis that has her running off to Seoul in search of her roots. And what Hara finds there is Hara, H-A-R-A, finds there has all the makings of a classic K-drama. A tall, mysterious stranger who greets her at the airport, spontaneous adventures across the city, and a mess of familial ties, along with a red string of destiny that winds its way around her heart and soul. Hara goes to Korea looking for answers, but what she gets instead is love. A forbidden love, ooh, that will either welcome Hara home or destroy her chance of finding one. And you have a couple here. You got an airplane and a park and a skyline. Yeah, that's definitely one I want to give it. Definitely want to give that one a shot. Okay, and this is a trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. It's certainly a series, and I think it's just the 3 books, but I'm not sure. But it is Uncharted Hearts by Constance Fay. So we have Calamity, Fiasco, and Chaos. So I've seen these around, and I knew that my friend Abby Jean had read at least one of these, maybe all 3, and liked it. So I checked them out. I asked her about it, and she was like, yes, she had read them and liked them, and she did it as a buddy read with Paige. All 3 of us have similar taste in a lot of things. So, yeah. So if they both liked it, then I'm probably going to like it myself. And this is, oops, that's the 3rd book. I was just like, I will talk about the 1st book. I'll just read this really quickly. He kisses like a storm, and I'm happy to drown in it. Ooh. Space hijinks abound in this enemies to lovers romance. The captain of a ragtag mercenary ship is given an offer she can't refuse by the ruthless head of an intergalactic noble family. The only catch? She'll have to team up with his son, an upsettingly competent hardbody with his own agenda, to get her reward. She's got a ramshackle spaceship, a misfit crew, and a big problem with its sexy newest member. Woohoo! There's more, but I'm sold. Okay, so far we've got 5 books that I looked at, and 5 books that I'm gonna at least try to read. This is by KJ Whittle, and it's called 7 Reasons to Murder Your Dinner Guests. And this one, I didn't try to read the back, but I was just like, that's a nice cover, that's a nice title. 3 courses, 7 guests, 1 card. It's a deadly evening they'll never forget. 7 strangers meet for an anonymously hosted dinner party. As the evening winds down, 7 cards appear, one in front of each of the guests. On the card is a number, the age at which they will die. Thinking it an elaborate prank, the guests disperse into the night, hoping to forget the morbid evening forever. 2 weeks later, one of them is dead at exactly the age the card predicted. Ooh, it must be a coincidence. But as more guests die, each one dead at the same age as their card, it soon becomes clear that something much more sinister is afoot. Now it's up to the quickly dwindling group to figure out who, or what, was behind that fateful dinner party before their numbers catch up with them. Did I say I was tired? I'm tired. Told from the perspectives of each of the 7 guests, 7 Reasons to Murder Your Dinner Guests is a spellbinding and mysterious exploration of mortality, begging the question, how would you live your life if you knew your number was up? I'd like to think I wouldn't really need to do anything differently than I do now. And I'm going to have to take a break because there was probably a little beeping noise that indicates that my storage is full. So I got to go clear that. And we're back. There was more stuff cluttering up my phone than I realized, and it's all gone now. One of the reasons I'm so tired, I think I forgot to mention this up top, was I got lost while I was driving around yesterday. I was trying to get from Enfield to Vernon in Connecticut, and I got lost. And I actually, literally ended up in Podunk. Like, I crossed this little stream that had a sign on it that indicated it was the Podunk River. Podunk, yes. River, no. Anyway, yes, because there is a part of Connecticut called Podunk. It's part of South Windsor. And I ended up there when I really wasn't trying to be there. But at least once I got there, I knew where I was, and I was able to find my way to where I actually wanted to be. Anyway, so that was partly why I was so tired yesterday. So back to the library book bag. This is for middle grade March. I picked up a couple of books for middle grade March. One Crazy Summer by Rita Williams Garcia. And 11-year-old Delphine has it together, even though her mother, Cecile, abandoned her and her younger sisters, Vanetta and Fern, 7 years ago. Even though her father and Big Ma, I was thinking maybe it was like a Chinese descended person of their acquaintance, Big Ma, will send them from Brooklyn to Oakland, California to stay with Cecile for the summer. And even though Delphine will have to take care of her sisters, as usual, and learn the truth about the missing pieces of the past. So they arrive in Oakland in the summer of 1968. Oh my goodness. Cecile wants nothing to do with them. She makes them eat Chinese takeout dinners from a restaurant called Bing Ma. Forbids them to enter her kitchen, and never explains the strange visitors with afros and black berets who knock on her door. Ooh, Panthers. Rather than spend time with them, Cecile sends Delphine, Vanetta, and Fern to a summer camp sponsored by a revolutionary group, the Black Panthers, where the girls get a radical new education. Set during one of the most tumultuous years in recent American history, One Crazy Summer is the heartbreaking, funny tale of three girls in search of the mother who abandoned them, an unforgettable story told by a distinguished author of books for children and teens, Rita Williams Garcia. The Black Panthers, one of the things they did was they sponsored in Oakland during the school year, they sponsored like pancake breakfasts. Like they'd come in and make pancakes for the kids who didn't have enough to eat at home. That was before breakfast programs were kind of like, became a little more standard. Okay, this is copyright 2010. There was a movie that came out called One Crazy Summer in the 80s, but it was a Savage. Steve Holland was the name of the director, and he directed Better Off Dead, One Crazy Summer, and it was like a summer teen comedy starring, what's his name? John Cusack, I think, and possibly Demi Moore, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, that's not what this is. And I didn't think so, so when I picked it up. So this is, so yes, middle grade March. Definitely going to read that. I think there was another book I checked out that, yes, here we go. Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. Ooh, that's so pretty. And it is by Grace Lynn, Lin. And in the valley of Fruitless Mountain, a young girl named Min Lee spends her days working hard in the fields and her nights listening to her father spin fantastic tales about the Jade Dragon and the Old Man of the Moon. Minley's mother, tired of their poor life, chides him for filling her head with nonsense. But Minley believes these enchanting stories and embarks on an extraordinary journey to find the Old Man of the Moon and ask him how her family can change their fortune. She encounters an assorted cast of characters and magical creatures along the way, including a dragon who accompanies her on her quest. He looks like he knows how to party. Okay, so yeah, this is from 2009. Yeah, definitely going to read that. This is a new book. I don't know anything about it. Never heard of the author, never heard of the book. It is Soul Gazer by Maggie Rapier. Every legend has a beginning. Saoirse yearns to be powerless. Cursed from childhood with a volatile magic, she's managed to imprison it within herself, living in constant terror that one day it will break free. And it does, changing everything. Horrified at her loss of control, Saoirse's parents offer her hand to the cold and ruthless Stone King. Knowing she'll never survive such a cruel man, Saoirse realizes there's only one path forward. She must break her curse. On the eve of her wedding, Saoirse seeks out the legendary Wolf of the Wild Phelan, a feral silver-tongued pirate. Arr, arr. He swears to help rid her of the deadly magic. I am like really struggling to read out loud today. Cold reading is not my friend. He swears to help rid her of the deadly magic if she'll use it to locate a lost mythical isle. Crafted by the slaughtered gods, it's the only land that could absorb her power. But Saoirse knows better than to trust a pirate's word. With the wrath of her disgraced father and scorned betrothed chasing them, Saoirse adds one last condition to protect herself. If Phelan wants her on his ship, he'll have to marry her first. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, so far I'm like into all of these. Let's see. Crazy Spooky Love by Josie Silver. This is a Melody Bittersweet novel, and this is actually, I read the first book. What was the first book called? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm super confused about what this book is. Ooh, you know, this is not what I thought it was. It's not a sequel to the book I thought it was a sequel to, and I'm not going to read it. Maybe I'll come back to this like in the fall. That might be nice to do. But yeah, not for now. The Second Chance You're Single. This was in a leftover display case from February by Kara Tanamachi. And she swore off dating, and then she met him. Let's see. Freelance writer Sarah Reed believes in inertia. So why? She's the odd one out in a family of go-getters, including her Japanese-American mom, who hints at losing weight, and her almost married sister, who needs Sora... Oh, it's Sora, not Sarah. My mistake. Who needs Sora to get a date for the wedding. Otherwise, she'll be dancing with her Scottish great-uncle Bob. For Sora, the phrase, minimal input, minimal expectations is a way of life. The one thing that disrupts her inertia... The one thing that disrupts her inertia, an intense dislike for Valentine's Day. What is it with the commercial love machine? Why do we get our hopes up when staying home with a package of bacon and a bottle of tequila is better? Bacon, yes. Tequila, no. Never liked tequila. Sora's been betrayed before, and her heart feels like Grandma Mitsui's antique Japanese ceramic bowl with its gold-filled cracks. When her pledge to stay single inspires readers to #GoSolo, Sora wants to empower her followers. It shouldn't be that hard, right? Enter Jack Mann, a muscle-bound baker Sora hasn't thought of since elementary school. When a run-in at the grocery store leads to instant attraction, Sora knows she has to shut it down. She can't #GoSolo and get the guy. She can't let down her readers, and relationships always end, so why should Jack be different even though he's confounding her expectations of love? I think I'll read that. Sure, you bet. It's not very long. It's like 280 pages, and it is from 2023. So yeah, that'll go. So far, I only have a couple left. Desperate Measures by Katie Robert. This is a Wicked Villains novel. I haven't read any of the Wicked Villains books, so I'm looking forward to trying that. Once upon a time, I was a sheltered princess. Now he owns me, body and soul. One night, and my entire life went up in flames, all because of him, Jafar. As my world burned down around me, he offered me... As my world burned down around me, he offered me a choice. Walk away with nothing but my freedom, or rise to his challenge and win my fortune back. I bargained. I lost. A little bit of an edit there, because I realize this is Katie Roberts, and I think even the summary is probably more after hours than this video warrants. I will just say that this is a Wicked Villains novel. The villain is Jafar. And I did enjoy the Emily McIntyre Twisted Tales, Twisted Villains, whatever. And she had a Jafar one in there as well. So yes, I'm going to read it, but if I'm going to talk about it, it's going to be on an after hours video. Okay, just one more book. Oh dear. I started with 14 books, including the book club book, and so far I've only eliminated one. A Love Like the Sun by Riss M. Nielsen. Never heard of her, never heard of it. Her, him, them. Lanaya Thompson is a homebody who craves privacy. Isaac Jordan is internet famous and spends his days followed by paparazzi. She runs a small business with her mom in her hometown. He runs an international brand, and they've been best friends since childhood. When Isaac comes home to Providence for the first time in months and discovers Lanaya's dream is slipping out of reach as she and her mom struggle to pay the bills at Wildly Green, their natural hair store, she refuses to take a dime from him. And so he does what any self-respecting best friend would do, tells the world they're dating. Yes, sounds like a decision that was made in haste, and he will probably repent at leisure. Suddenly business is booming, and Lanaya agrees to his ridiculous plan to pretend to be lovers for the course of the summer, just long enough to catch the eye of an investor and get her dream back on track, like she helped him do so many years ago. Too soon, though, Lanaya knows she's playing with fire because for as long as they've been friends, there's been an undeniable pull they've never given into. And as the lines between art and life, real and pretend, blur, it becomes harder and harder to see where friendship ends and something else begins. Told over the course of 3 sizzling summer months. Well, this is like the one time I'm actually somewhat nostalgic for summer. When I'm in summer, I hate it, but right now it's like, maybe it would be nice if it didn't snow. So, well, as a winnowing project, this was an utter failure. Oh, there's one book I forgot about. They have like a little Friends of the Library sale shelf in the lobby, and I saw a mass market paperback that I wanted to get, and when I asked them how much it cost, they said, you can have it. They knew I was visiting from a different library, and they said, welcome to Enfield, have a book. Okay. It is The Duke's Christmas Bride by Anna Bradley, and I will save that for Christmas. She's so pretty. I'm not familiar with Anna Bradley, but apparently she's written a bunch of stuff. So, yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it. This is a long video, and now I have a long TBR because I've only rejected one book out of hand, or at least for now. The others, I might get into them and decide they're not for me, but so far I want to try pretty much all of them. So if you enjoyed this video, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, or don't. I'm not the boss of you, and I hope you have a good day. Or night.